Buenos días, good morning. This is the first of the talk series in the context of the ARA English group in the first course of the new degree on informatics engineering. I would like to thank Javier Arias, who is going to give you the first of the speeches. He's working for Google for more than 3 years, first in Madrid, and then from last September until now in London. He's a sales engineer, and he's going to talk about smartphones and their applications. I would like to thank Javier for his effort to be here for today, because he has just arrived this morning by plane and he returns to London in the afternoon. So thank you for being here, and I would like to thank you in the name of the school and the rest of the team here and of the students.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a very early start this morning, but I'm really excited being here because the point for me being here is to talk to you about a technology that I'm very excited about. So what I'm going to talk about is about mobile devices. And let me tell you something. Mobile devices are not just phones. And this is something that seems very, very easy to understand. But let me tell you one story. One of my friends has a 3-year-old daughter. And in a Kinder Egg, she got a mobile phone as a present. And she told her mother, "What song do you want to listen?" So if you understand the rationale behind her mind asking her mother that, is she recognized that device or that toy not as a phone to make calls, but as a device to listen music, as a computer. So the idea for me in the presentation today is to present you mobile devices not from the voice point of view, not even from the SMS point of view, but from the computer point of view. So the central idea I'm going to talk about is that this device is not a mobile phone. This device is a supercomputer. So if you compare this device with a laptop 2 years old, this one is more powerful. So the laptop you have in the picture has 1 gigahertz microprocessor. This device has exactly the same microprocessor in terms of frequency. The amount of RAM memory that the laptop you see in the picture has is lower than the amount of RAM memory that this device has. In fact, this device has several advantages compared to a laptop like that one. And the main advantage is it fits in my hand, and it's always connected to internet. And during the presentation, I'm going to try to make you understand why that's a huge difference. Okay? So the thing is why smartphones is something huge. And the idea is the number of smartphones is available in the world is growing like crazy. There is a consensus in the market that sooner or later there are going to be more smartphones than PCs. Deloitte says it is this year. This year are going to be sold 400 million devices. Morgan Stanley said it is in a couple of years. It is uncertain when it's going to happen, but it's very sure that it's going to happen. The rate of growth that smartphones have in the market is amazing. How many of you has a smartphone? Can you raise your hand? Yeah, most of you. Most of you. That's actually the point. So then from this point, you have to imagine a situation when everyone has one of these devices in their hand with the power capacity in their hand, always connected to internet, and how that changed their life and how that changed your opportunities for the future. How can you leverage on that? How can you take advantage of your technical knowledge to make out of that trend in the market a big opportunity for you? That's the whole idea. because you are in the very sweet position to get an understanding on what can be done with these devices, and not only to understand what can be done, but also to develop yourselves what has to be done. Let me try to explain to you what are the key components that define a smartphone. So how can you tell the difference between the phone in the left and the phone in the right-hand side? So there's obviously some years in difference. But let's go one item after the other. The first one is screens. Since the iPhone was launched, there is a huge advantage on the screens. There are two main trends. First, touchscreen. Touchscreens are everywhere. So now every single smartphone has touchscreen. And in fact, it's multi-touch. Most of them are multi-touch. The second trend is that screens are getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. And now you have screens from 3.7 inches to 14 inches to 7 inches. You have screens for all sizes. So this is something that is very interesting because so far the size of the screens were just limited to the size of a normal screen in a laptop, 14 inches, 15 inches, 13. But now from 3 inches to 14, you can also find all the range of devices for every single screen. And that, again, changed everything. Because these screens allows the users to access internet, to browse internet, without the need of technologies like iMode or WML. Now, in a smartphone, you can browse the internet using just HTML. You don't need to, as a developer, you don't need to create a second site just for mobiles. You can just create your HTML site that is available for PCs and from mobile devices. The second trend and the second item that is very important is the cameras in the mobile devices. So the device that you see in the picture is a Nokia device that has a camera with 12 megapixels, and the optic it has is a Carl Zeiss optic, which is one of the best optics in the world. So the quality of that camera is almost professional. And again, it fits in your hand. Now, when you have this camera and the combination of this camera with the screen, you can see that the quality of the videos, the user experience when they see a picture on the device, or when they take a picture on the device, is amazing compared to what we have seen so far. The third point is almost all devices have accelerometer. And an accelerometer, as you know, is the possibility to just move the device, change its orientation, and the content in the screen just follows to make it easier for the user to read. And again, this is something that helps the user to, for example, browse the internet or to watch video on the device. And this is one of the things that Apple did very well when they launched iPhone. It changed everybody's mind. Once they launched that, every single smartphone incorporated that functionality. And the accelerometer is not only that capability, it also can detect how are you moving the device and allows you as a developer to create new applications and new functionalities that gives very good value added to the user. Just imagine, if I have my mobile pointing there and there is a monument, if I move my device, you can detect the movement and you can tell me what I'm going to see on my right-hand side, just detecting the movement I'm doing. For example, one application of the accelerometer is to detect when you have a crash. Try to imagine, you are riding your bicycle, you have your mobile phone, and the accelerometer is measuring your speed. In fact, it's measuring your acceleration or your negative acceleration. So the moment you crash, there is a stop in your speed, there is a negative acceleration. The device can send a message to your wife or to your friend or to 911, sending them an alert that you have suffered an accident. That kind of applications are possible because you have now this functionality incorporated in the smartphone. And the thing is that you have that incorporated in all smartphones from now on. So the challenge here for you is how to take advantage of that functionality, those chips that are integrated in the device, and create innovative applications like the one I described. Another component that is really, really important is the GPS and the compass. In fact, so what we are talking about here is that now the device knows where it is. And not only where it is, but also where it is pointing out. So if it is pointing to north or to south. So if I move the device, I can tell you are pointing that direction or that other direction. The ability for the applications that you potentially could develop to know exactly where the user is at that moment is huge, the potential it has. Real virtual reality applications is something that take advantage of this. The possibility of using these devices as navigators take advantage of this. Now, the challenge for you is to incorporate this functionality in your applications. And try to imagine something like, as simple as this. You have a site where you collect offers for TVs. So if I'm interested in buying a TV, I can enter in your site, tell you what is the TV I want to buy, and you can track where I'm walking. And as soon as you know I'm passing by a store that has an offer for the TV I want to buy, you send me a message. So that kind of functionality was not possible a while ago with the devices, but it is possible now using this technology. And the good news for you is that the technology that the smartphones are using allows your applications to take advantage of that. Because in the past, older operative systems like Symbian had the disadvantage of having the device had a GPS, but the applications running on the device had not access to that functionality. And this is not happening anymore. Now, the trend is that no matter what chip or what functionality do you have in the device, all applications have access to it. And that changed everything, because it gives you the power to create new applications. The next thing that is really important on these devices is browsers. There is a trend of having a browser as powerful as the desktop browser. Opera Mini, for example, or Chrome, Google Chrome, are browsers that are, in a way, converging. They're both flavors. So the idea here is that from the user point of view, the experience browsing the internet is going to be the same no matter what devices you are going to have. And the way you can see that is because last version of browsers on these devices are incorporating HTML5, which is gives you the opportunity to access from the browser to the hardware on the device. So now it is possible to access from your website, from your web application, to access to the GPS, to access to the accelerometer, to access to the compass, to access obviously to the camera. And that opens you a new opportunity, because then you have to choose, and we will talk about that later, you have to choose whether you want to create an application for the device in a native application, or you would prefer to create an HTML5 application. And you will have to make a decision, and there is a trade-off in that decision. The other thing that is really important, and I think it makes a huge difference here, is these devices are always connected to internet. And they are not always connected, not only connected through 3G, with speeds up to 7 megs, But also now operators are deploying 4G. And 4G will allow speeds up to 20 megs in these devices. 20 megs is more than the bandwidth that most of the people has at home. So that will allow, obviously, real-time video conference through the device. But the way it changed the fact that the device is always connected is because not everything has to be processed on the device. And this is something that Google has taken advantage a lot in most of the applications. So for us, the key is, okay, don't try to process everything on the device. Just try to do in the device the minimum amount of process you need, and then transfer the information to the cloud, to our service in the cloud, do the process on the cloud, and send the result to the device again. Because the bandwidth is so good when you have 3G, when it is good, obviously. The user experience for services like translation, or services like search, or services like Google Maps, it's amazing. It's really amazing. So you can browse all world's map, just sending information to the cloud, processing that information, and getting the results on the device. Then there are three ideas that are very important, and these are mainly specific to Android. So far, everything I was talking about was a bit general. It affects all the smartphones. It doesn't matter if it is Nokia, iPhone, Android, or Windows Mobile. But here are three components that are, I would argue, specific for Android. The first one is real multitasking. So Android devices have the capability of having real multi-threading multitasking. That allows you to run several applications at the same time. And again, this is a huge advantage for you at the time of trying to imagine what can be done with applications running on this kind of devices. Imagine so far it was not possible to listen music while you were reading your email. And now you can, in an Android device, you can have one task that is loading the browser, loading a web page in the browser, then reading your mail, and at the same time is listening music. And if you get a phone call, the phone will stop the music and will allow you to take the phone call while the web page is still loading on the background. So real multitasking is something that put these devices at the level of the computers, as I was arguing at the beginning of the presentation. But something that is really powerful is notifications. Notifications from the server. Notifications from the server allows your application to push notifications to the user. And to push them in a standard way, so all applications send notifications in the same way. The user interface is standardized for the user, so the user knows how to manage those notifications. And the critical thing here is that those notifications are free. So once you get this in the devices, and you remember the time where notifying a user through SMS cost you 9 cents each message, and now you have that functionality for free. You have that functionality for free incorporated in the operative system. Things as easy as an application that tells me real-time football results as they're happening. Every time Valencia Club de Fútbol scores a goal, I receive a notification from the application. That notification is free for the developer, it's free for the service. For me, it's very valuable because it is real-time. So now try to imagine, in the example I told you before, when you are interested in shopping a TV, your service can push a notification to me where I walk by a store that has an offer for the TV I'm looking for. And that notification is free for you. And the fact that that notification is free means that the opportunity, it is easier for you to develop applications and to add value to users because the costs that you are going to have are much, much lower. The third component is called intent. And intent is the capability that Android applications have to link to one to the other. So imagine this situation. I'm reading an email, and in the email I receive a link. I click on the link, the browser is launched, and I load the web page in the browser. If I press the back button, I come back to the mail reader, to the mail application. And that from the user point of view, it makes all sense, because I was in one application, I switched to another one. If I press back, I want to be in the previous one. From the technical point of view, it's not always possible in all platforms. And in Android, it is possible. And that gives the user a very good experience. And that offers you the possibility to integrate with other applications. So it gives you the possibility to rely, not to have to develop everything in your application. It gives you the possibility to rely on third-party applications, not even knowing how the application works, not even knowing how to communicate with it. So when you combine everything, when you combine all the ideas we were mentioning, you are able to create applications, for example, Google Goggles. How many of you know Google Goggles application? Okay. So let me tell you a bit about Google Goggles. Google Goggles is the kind of application that takes advantage of most of the things I was talking about. So in one hand, Google Goggles is an application that I can talk to it, I can do a search to it using my speech. So the thing is, what happened then is that the device take my voice, send my voice to internet. My voice is processed on the service on the internet, is converted to text. The text is sent back to my device, and then a search is performed. So doing that requires, obviously, being connected to internet and a decent bandwidth. Google Goggles, for example, allows me to take a picture, to send the picture to the internet, to the cloud, analyze that picture on the cloud, and send me back to the device the results of the picture. And that kind of functionality is not possible if you don't have the components we were talking about. Another application that I'm very excited about is Google Translate. And Google Translate has exactly the same issue. When you want to translate something, trying to do that in a device, even if the device is really, really powerful, it's very difficult, because you need a huge database of different translations, different combinations of translations. Doing that in the device has also the challenge of having the database updated, and how the translator can just learn very quickly. So instead of doing that, what Google decided is, let's do that in the cloud. So let's have a translator machine in the cloud that is capable of learning from everyone's experience and providing that what the translator have learned to everyone again. And in order to do that, you have to be able to, from the device, to send to the cloud what you want to be translated, translate it in the cloud, and send back the results. Let's try to make a small demo to make you understand what I'm talking about. So here I have the Google Translate interface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell a phrase in Spanish, and it is going to translate it to English for me. Quiero la última versión del informe en mi despacho mañana por la mañana.
I want the latest version of the report in my office tomorrow morning.
So this level this precision doing the translation is only possible if you do that in the cloud. Because here there are several things that are really, really challenging. So the first one is that this translator does not need to learn from me or my tone or my accent or anything. It is just general. It understands everybody. So the thing is that it is able to, no matter what accent, no matter what voice tone I have, it's able to convert voice to text. And that itself is really challenging. Because so far, if you remember the automatic answering machines that banks or operators used to have is press 1 or say your IDN number by number. They normally don't understand you, and it's very normal to see a joke saying, trying to talk to an automatic machine, and an automatic machine just understanding nothing. And here, the approach that Google took was totally different. So instead of trying to understand just specific words, what Google is doing is taking the whole sentence and comparing that to the whole sentences that we have stored from the internet. And no matter if the application does not understand just a word or a couple of words, because what we are going to try to do is to get the whole sentence. So even if we don't understand a word, we will just infer which word it's going to be. And doing that allows the application to be that precise, specifically when you have long sentences. So the application, funny enough, is less precise when you just say a word. So if I say, I don't know, presidente, chances are that the translation is not going to be good. But if I said a complete sentence, the translation is going to be good, very, very, very likely. Again, this is something that can be done in this device, not only because this device is powerful, but also because this device is taking advantage of the cloud. And this is something that you have to have in mind when you create your applications or when you think about mobile devices. So the idea or the message I'm trying to push you is don't think on applications just on everything being calculated or everything being processed in the device. Open your mind and think, how can you take advantage of the huge process power that you can have on the cloud, and just take advantage also from the bandwidth that you have connected to the device to provide a better user experience. Because the good thing with this translation is, if it does not work and I correct my translation, that correction goes again to the cloud, and it is used for the next user that is going to try to translate a similar sentence. That way, the application or the translator machine is learning constantly, and what it is learning, it works in advantage of all users. So, the idea here is that once you have the smartphones and you have all these components that allows you to create cool applications for them, you have these numbers. And these numbers are that in the column of the 2010, the first number, 17.7, is 17.7 billion applications downloaded in last year. It's switched. I'm sorry. So it's 70.7 is 2011 and 8.2 is 2010. It switched the table. So the point here is try to let you know the huge growth that application download and application revenue is having. So downloads last year were 8.2 billion downloads. For 2011, it is expected 17.7. And the revenue that those downloads had in last year was $5.2 billion, and for this year is $15.1 billion expected. So you have it. It is a huge opportunity in money for those that have the technical capability to develop something that can be run in these devices. And that means you. Because I can tell you, ideas, everyone can have them. Capability to develop those ideas, just people like you can have them. Not everyone. One of the things that I always try to tell people when they enter in the business business is don't concentrate just in pay per download applications. Whenever someone comes to me and tell me, you know, I have this idea for an application, I'm going to charge for the application $2 each download. And it makes sense. But it makes sense for some applications, not for all of them. And it is very easy to get confused by this number, the $15.1 billion, which is revenue from downloaded applications. And the number is huge. And the opportunity is there. But still there are more business models that you can apply to a mobile application. So it is not just charging per download application. You have more options. Let me try to present you a few options that are available, apart from charging from downloads. The first one is freemium. So the idea here is you have an application, you offer it for free with a basic functionality, and if the user wants a more advanced functionality, you charge for that. And that works very, very well for applications because it combines it combines the idea of maximum development or maximum distribution of the application, because for the user is very easy, very cheap to try the application, to see if the application fits in his needs. And once the user is convinced that the application works, pay for it if they want. In this business model, normally 95% of the users use the free version of the application, and only 5% of the users pay for it. But those 5% of the users are the users that are really committed to the application. Those are the power users, and just with that 5%, the business can break even or even make money. So when you have an idea for an application in these devices, under the environment I was trying to describe to you during the presentation, don't just think on, I'm going to try to get the money at the download time from the user. Just take another step and offer the user the opportunity to try your application, and then if the user likes it, offer him the opportunity to get a more advanced experience, a more advanced service, charging for that service. There is another business model that is obviously working for Google. An option is using advertisement in the applications. One of the Google services is AdSense for mobile applications, and that allows you to insert ads in your application. And if the user clicks on the ad, Google will split the revenue that we get from that ad with the developer. So that way, you might be able to distribute for free your application, so trying to get as many users as you can, while you can get revenue or a stream of revenue from a different thing. So you don't have to sell your application, you just rely on the advertisement that your application has. This obviously does not work in all cases. You just have to try to understand what is the scenario or the best case for you, but it is an option that you always have. And let me tell you something. Paying per download, the trend is that the amount the users are paying per application, the average amount, is decreasing year after year. And it is decreasing because it makes sense. So if I develop an application and if I charge, I don't know, $2 per download, and if I get 100,000 users, I'm going to get $200,000, which is a very good business. But it is a very good business also for you. So you can develop exactly the same application and offer it for $1. And even if you get 100,000 users, you're going to get $100,000, which is still a very good business. So that thing, what happens is that the revenue or the average price of downloaded applications is decreasing constantly. Using advertisement offers you the opportunity to have a different revenue stream. Offers you the opportunity to present your application for free to the users, trying to get as many users as possible, trying to remove from the user the friction of having to pay to use an application. And so you can try to reach the maximum distribution. And once you have that, you use the advertisement to get the money. But still, you have more options. One of the options is try to base your business offline. So your business not necessarily has to be based on the download of the application or the revenue you are getting from advertisement. You just can sell things through your application. You can use your application to get money from other areas of your business. And the typical example here is Amazon. Do you imagine that Amazon would charge for their application? Obviously not. For them, it doesn't make sense. What they are aiming is to have a wider distribution of their application. The wider, the better. So they offer their application for free, so you can download the application, and if you use it, they will get revenue whenever you buy a CD or a book or anything in their store. So again, here is the idea for you. When you imagine a business opportunity, or when you imagine a functionality that can be very cool to have in a mobile device, don't think just, I'm going to charge for that application. Try to think, I have more opportunities to get revenue from that application. And the last one is something that Google announced yesterday. It is in-app billing, which allows you to sell, let's say, items within the application. And this applies very well to games. So imagine you create a game, and you want to sell a virtual good like, I don't know, the magic sword for the game. And you want to sell that for 10 cents. So here you have a business model where you offer your application for free, the user download the application, use it, play with it, but to enjoy the application, the user needs to buy something. And now, embedded in the SDK of Android, you have the opportunity to offer the user, okay, you want to buy this component? Here, click, you do 2 clicks, you buy the component. And this is very, very powerful. Because if you go again to the scenario where you have, the premium scenario where you have 95% of the users, 5% of the users that are willing to pay, 95% of the users are not going to use this functionality. They are not going to buy you the magic sword, that's for sure. But the 5% of the users that are really committed to the application, they are going to buy you the sword, they are going to buy you the arc, they are going to buy you everything. Because they are really committed to the application. And this gives you the opportunity to have recurrent opportunities to sell something to the user. So again, the message for you is, don't think just pay per download. There are lots of different options. But also, the second message for you is, don't think just mobile devices. There are more devices coming. So Google TV is coming, Chrome OS is coming. And what that really means for you is that what are you going to do? For what platform are you going to develop? Because as I mentioned before, now you have a decision to make. You either develop for iPhone, then for Android, now for Windows Mobile, Symbian, obviously, or you choose and you develop HTML5. And that decision is a very difficult trade-off. Because it is obvious that if you develop a native application, the user experience is going to be much better, normally. The application is more integrated in the device. The application feels natural to the user. If you do that in the browser, the user experience is normally not that good. The user interface is normally not that good. So the advice I give everyone that asks me, what should I do? Should I develop an Android, iPhone, Windows Mobile application, or just go HTML5? My answer is always the same. If your user interface does not justify using the native application, go for HTML5. And the reason for that is because these devices are supporting now HTML5. But the devices that are coming, the netbooks, the tablets, the TVs, the cars, the refrigerators, these devices are going to support HTML5. And so in a year, in 2 years, the best way to have huge audience is to bet in HTML5. So that's my advice. Unless you have a real user interface justification to use a native application, bet on HTML5. Okay, just in one sentence. All this speech in one sentence. So the idea I'm trying to give you is, the mobile opportunity is huge. Is huge. There are going to be more mobile phones, more smartphones than PCs in the world. There are lots of different opportunities out there. You have different business models to choose. How do you want to present your application? How do you want to sell your application to the users? You have to make a decision on what technology are you going to prioritize at the time of developing. So think twice about that. But the real message of my presentation is that the important thing here is you. Because you might not realize now, but you are the ones that are going to do these applications. The sooner you start thinking about how to do that, the sooner you start incorporating these ideas I was trying to push you in your mind, the better. The easier for you to get advantage of this opportunity. Try it. Download an SDK, no matter if it is iPhone, Android, or Windows Mobile. Try to develop an application. Try to implement a simple idea. An application to share your notes. Try anything. Just try it. Enjoy it. And try to get advantage of this. Because this is going to be a huge opportunity. In Spain, it is an empty field for everyone. So try to take advantage of that. Thank you. So the idea is I can take questions, either in Spanish or in English, and questions can be around mobile or whatever interests you. Any questions, please?
Standard, what's the problem? You can control the camera
Yeah, I think you're right. There are two challenges if you choose HTML5. First one is that HTML5 is far from perfect, and the access to the hardware is far from perfect. And it is not as good as a native application, that's for sure. So that's why my advice is think if it makes sense, go for it. If not, just go for the native application. But for most of the applications that are there, probably HTML5 is a good solution from the user interface point of view. The second one is the security challenge that you are mentioning. But that challenge is in both the HTML5 and the native application, because you are going to face the same problems in both environments. And here, I can only talk from the Android point of view, but here, the advantage that the Android has compared to other platforms is that whenever you are going to install an application, the user is going to receive a notification, is going to see before he installs the application, is going to see what resources the application is going to use from the phone. Because one of the things that happen in these smartphones is that every application has potentially access to everything in the phone. So every application has access, for example, potentially to my address book. So an application could just read my address book. So the way Google tried to solve that is at the installation time, asking or telling the user, this application is going to access your address book. Are you okay with that? Yeah, and that's the challenge that you have in both environments. One question?
I have a question related to the business model you're presenting us, which is, for example, the fact that Google as a company has always tried to democratize the use of technology, etc. But the thing is, these devices, these smartphones are still quite expensive in the market. You buy them, free. Not attached to any provider. But still in Spain, for example, access to broadband networks is expensive. You have to pay a lot of tax for the broadband. The price of the connection is still expensive. 4G, LTE networks are not yet developed here. So still it's a bit of a hurdle to get access to that. You have to spend a lot of money. Yeah. Another thing is when you're using cloud computing, it forces you to transmit a lot of data over the network, and that takes a lot of battery. That draws a lot of battery. Still nowadays, batteries are not, let's say, attached to the base of how technology improves. Technology, processors are getting higher, further performance, better performance, more and more powerful, but they're not having a battery which is following them. Battery technology. So that's something that worries me. How are you going to? Is there a way to endorse this business model of cloud computing, the price of the network access, and the limitations of such a high amount of data transmitted, which is drawing so much battery? Because that's, we all know that's the function which draws most battery of the phone itself, compared to processing something in local. How do you see these things?
Okay. So there
Different challenges.
are different things. It's a very interesting question because it gives me the opportunity to share with you my experience moving from Spain to London, to England. So the thing is here I had a flat rate with Vodafone, and I paid, I think it was 15 euros a month, and I have an allowance of, I don't know, 150 or 200 megs per month for that price. I moved to London, and well, I have a company phone, but I bought a SIM card for my wife, and we paid £20 for 6 months unlimited data plan. £20, 6 months unlimited data plan. So now, the message for you is, It's not only Spain. Think worldwide. Mobile is worldwide. It's not Spain. Forget about Spain. Think worldwide. No. You are taking your classes in English. Man, you are international. Forget about Spain. Think your business worldwide. The markets, no matter what market, the iPhone market, the Android market, the operators market, Telefonica is planning to launch a market for applications. Amazon is planning to launch a market for Android devices. Those markets are worldwide. Once you upload an application there, it's visible worldwide. Someone in Shanghai can download your application and use it. So think worldwide. Don't think Spanish. Think worldwide. Think English, think Chinese, think Indian, think worldwide. Because things are different here. Bandwidth is expensive, but not everywhere. Bandwidth is affordable outside of Spain. Okay? Having said that, when you see the penetration of smartphones in Spain, it's higher in Spain than in UK. So I don't know if because we want to show off our mobile phones or what, but here we have more smartphones than in UK. So people still are willing to pay that amount of money for a smartphone, because I'm telling you, most of the carriers are selling the smartphones tied to a data plan. So you can't buy a smartphone without a data plan from Orange or Telefonica or Vodafone. And obviously the device free from the operator is very expensive, 400, 500, very, very expensive. So the message for me is, forget about Spain, think worldwide, but remember Spain, there are lots of them. So it still could be a good idea. About the cloud computing, or the approach to developing in cloud computing, the amount of data you have to transmit in cloud is not that big. It's not that big. One could think that, let me give you an example. Navigation. Google Maps navigation. In Google Maps I can just tell to my phone, navigate from here to Madrid. It will take my voice, upload that to internet, get the voice to text conversion, then get the route, send the route to my mobile, send the tiles for all the route. So if I lose connection during the route, the navigator still works. And that is about 200K, no more. So it's not huge. It's something that if you are in 3G, and in Spain we have a pretty good 3G coverage, it works. It works pretty well. The speed which I did the translation before is just in a second. I did the sentence, went to the cloud, went back, and just a portion of a second. So I think unless you are working with video, or unless you are working with, obviously, video, sound, and things like that, the amount of data is not that big. It's not that big. So consider it. It is an opportunity. Obviously, you have to try to minimize your data consumption, try to do things in a clever way. And the last version of the Google Maps, instead of sending tiles that were bitmaps, now we have a vector rendering of the map. And a vector rendering obviously takes much less bandwidth than the tiles. I guess that's my answer. More questions? I'm enjoying more the questions than the speech, to be honest.
Yeah, I have one. I completely agree with you that we should think globally, because the market is global, so we should think worldwide. But there is an issue relating the work that is performed by the actors in the domain with respect to those providing the connections. Because one thing that we have as a environment towards that goal of thinking worldwide is roaming, for instance.
Yeah.
Even if you are with the same company, doesn't matter if it's Spain, but in any country in Europe, even the same company in different countries applies different at different rates. And if you don't make aware of that and you don't think as a user about multitasking,
100 to 100 euros, YouTube is easy. And I think that it's an issue that maybe it's not directly related to developers, you are right, but I want to know which is the role that actors like Google that are providing the platform is playing with the other part, the counterpart of the actors that are providing the connection, like Telefonica. Is there any contact? Is there any forum where you discuss about such kind of issues?
Yeah, you bet it is. You bet there is. So the thing is, and I can tell you because I'm working in the strategic relationships, and obviously the relationship between Google and Telefonica is strategic, and because I'm Spanish, I was involved in that. So there are conversations about that. So it is true. Things are changing, though. If you have, and I'm not trying to endorse here any company. I mean, but if you have, for example, a data plan with Vodafone in Spain, and you travel abroad, they allow you to have up to 50 megs per month, free in roaming, which is very convenient. So if you travel, I don't know, a weekend to London or to Paris or to wherever, you can still use your phone, get up to 50 megs and take advantage. Precisely when you more need your phone, because when you are abroad, when you are in a city that you don't know, especially if it is outside your country, is when you are going to use Translate, when you are going to use Google Maps, when you are going to use your mail to check everything. So it's when you really need the bandwidth. So this is happening. I have to tell that when I landed here, my Vodafone phone from UK, now it is Vodafone UK, sent me an SMS telling me that 100 megs will cost me £3. So it's very, very expensive roaming for me now. But if you travel from Spain to UK with Vodafone, you have up to 50 megs. So that is changing because global companies like Vodafone, Telefonica, Orange, they also understand that there is an advantage for the users. There is the network effect that if I am a user of a company and if I travel within their countries, I can take advantage of the bandwidth. And from the Google point of view, being committed as we are with these kind of applications that are bandwidth demanding, that are always based on the cloud, all we talk to operators is ways to make bandwidth cheaper and more available. And we are always trying to push them, and always trying to convince them the advantages of having cheap flat rates and having broadband available to everyone. Because we really think and we are convinced that once they have, operators or carriers will have more opportunities to develop their business. Because they will have the opportunity to sell TV on the device, to sell voice over IP, to sell video conferencing. So there are more opportunities once you have all your users in broadband. So yeah, we're trying to push that, but it's not always easy, because operators have also to think about their business model and their revenue.
So is it working? I mean,
slowly. It is working, but slowly. Yeah. More questions, please. Yeah. Are you okay if I answer in English? Cool. So yeah, it happens the same in the news industry. These industries are in a change. They know it. They know that. They are trying to understand how they have to adapt to the new reality. And they are trying different things. they're trying to, in the case of AT&T, they're trying to say, okay, we are not going to offer flat rates anymore, we are going to charge per consumption. In the case of the news, we are going to charge per article or per day or whatever business model they want to try, as Murdoch tried or announced a few days ago. But the thing is that they are trying to find a business model that makes sense to everyone. And the business model has to make sense to everyone. So the operators are important. Without them, nothing works. They have to get results. They have also shareholders, and they have to present their results to their shareholders, and they have to have some benefit. So the only thing that we can aim is for the governments to make sure that there is enough competition in that industry to make sure that the technology advantages are translated to the user, and that for sure will drop the price of accessing broadband. Because it looks that it is not happening, but if you look how expensive was 150 megabytes 3 years ago compared to now, it was far too expensive. It was much, much more expensive than today. So it is slowly, but happening. And regarding flat rates, I have to say that flat rate is something that is good, because from the user point of view, you forget about the data you are consuming. You just use. You know you have to pay a fixed amount every month, and you use it. But in reality, you don't have a flat rate now. You have flat rate, but you have a limit of, as I was saying in Vodafone, it was 150 megs per month. So that's not a flat rate. That's not an unlimited flat rate. The difference between that and just paying per consumption, well, it might be a good business for the user too. My experience. Now I'm living in UK, so I'm visiting Spain now and then, but not too often, maybe once a month or so. So I'm not willing to pay a flat rate with Vodafone or with Telefonica of 15 euros a month, because I'm not going to use that amount of data. So I need a data plan that charges me only for what I consume. And the fact is that it cost me a lot to find one in Spain, because everyone that offers you a data plan wants a flat rate and wants to receive a fixed amount every month. And only one operator, a virtual mobile operator, it was Simjo, offered me the opportunity to just charge me for the data I consume. And the price they are charging me is not that much. It's around 3 cents per 3 cents per meg. So it's not that bad. If you think about it, 3 cents per meg is not that bad. It's not that bad. If I have 500 megs in a month, is 15 euros, the amount I was paying with Vodafone. But now I have the flexibility that I only consume that data only when I'm in Spain. If I'm not in Spain, I think if I'm in England, I don't have to pay. So flat rates are good, but paying per consumption could be good too. The important thing is not the business model. The important thing is if there is enough competition between carriers. Because if there is enough competition, the user is going to win. You always are going to be able to get the best rate. That's the thing. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. So that point, it's net neutrality. That's the thing. I think Google and I myself personally, I think net neutrality is something really, really important for the internet. The moment you don't have net neutrality, startups like the one you are mentioning are going to have a hard time trying to launch their products. So I think that's a task that we all have, try to defend net neutrality. Again, it is challenging because everyone has their arguments and their reasons why that should be changed or not. But I'm convinced that it's something that is required, needed. It's something that is the only way to preserve the innovation around the internet and around the mobile industry. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. 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 How many of you have ever clicked in an ad in Google.com in the search engine? Just one. 3 in total. So those 3 brings Google every quarter around $6 billion. So nobody clicks on the ads, but we get $6 million. $6 billion every quarter. So the thing is that the real beauty of the ads, of Google ads, is that they are not intrusive, or at least we try to make not intrusive those ads. And only when you are interested on them, you click. Because we have millions and millions of users, most of them never click an ad. But those that click have a good experience, because if you are searching for, for a loan, in the search engine, all the ads you see are relevant to you, and you are likely to click on all of them because you are interested in what those ads have to tell you. We try to do the same in the applications environment, in the mobile applications. We try to make the ads relevant to the application, relevant to the user, relevant to the situation, to where the user is. So we try to use signals to make the ad relevant. And what happens is, when the ad is not relevant, users just ignore the ads. They don't even see them. But when the ad is relevant, magically, the users see them and click on them. And the business works, because we are making tons of money out of it. So I'm telling you, it works. It works. The thing is that it works, but you have to understand the limits of the business. And if you have an application that is downloaded by 5,000 people, okay? 5,000 people is a lot of people to download an application. And it is difficult to convince 5,000 people, okay, that you download my application, I try to use it. And the thing, if you try to monetize those 5,000 people using advertisement, is that most likely you're going to get, $1 a month or so. Why? Because 5,000 people is not that much for an ad business model. Advertisement business models are based on a huge amount of users. Imagine the amount of users that Google has in our homepage. So if you have 3 million users in your application, then you can make good money out of advertisement. Okay? So it is the same when you have a web page on the internet that you put ads on them and you think no one clicks on the ads. But there are sites on the internet, download.com or twocows.com, and they make a huge amount of money out of the ads because they have a big amount of users. So if you have an application with only 5,000 users, maybe advertisement is not the right business model for you. You have different options for your business models. That's what I always trying to say to you. It's not only download, it's not only advertisement. You can sell offline, you can sell things in the application. So you have different options to try to monetize your application. Yep.
Well, this question is it's out of this context because we're talking about broadband, we're talking about technologies, and we're talking about developed society. What about developing society? What's the vision? What's the Google's vision about third world countries that they are trying to access technology? Of course, they don't have broadband, they don't have fair market, they don't have international providers. They don't. But they are potential users. They are potential clients. And I only would like to know the Google's vision about
Hmm.
emerging.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That's a very good question because we tend to think that in Africa there is no business for mobile industry. And let me tell you, we are getting it wrong. A few days ago I was looking at an application that allows you to send money to Zimbabwe from your desktop. You just send, I want to send $50 to this mobile number. And the person in Zimbabwe, receives an SMS with a code, goes to the shop, shows the code, and the shop gives them $50. Okay? And that works in Zimbabwe, not in Spain. And that works in Zimbabwe, not in Spain, because in Spain we have ATMs, we have automatic cash machines, and in Zimbabwe they don't even have a bank system. So they found a way to take advantage of the mobile industry to provide a payment or a payment system. I repeat, in Zimbabwe. So the opportunity is there. India is a huge country. China is a huge country. Africa is huge. You only have to adapt your technology or adapt your business model to what they have. But most of them have mobile phones. Almost none of them will have DSL at home. So it's more easy to find someone with internet on the phone than someone with internet on the PC in a country like Zimbabwe. So the opportunity is there. It is certainly there. More questions? The questions are more exciting than the presentation, I have to say. Yeah?
Yeah, I have another one relating to the strategy that is followed by Google regarding the provision of programming platforms for the new types of devices that are appearing. As you have said, Android is the platform that is available today for the development of applications for mobile devices. But Google TV, is it related to Android or not? Or the issue is that for each family, which is the threat? This is
Okay.
basically the question. For each type of device, we will find a different kind of development SDK, development platform, and so on.
Okay.
Or is there any trend for homogenized?
Yeah, it's very difficult to give an answer because, in technology everything changed so fast that it's very difficult to say this is going to be the success story. So we're trying to play everything, to be honest. The thing is, Google TV is based on Android. So the operative system that the desktop is running is Android. So if you have an application that runs on your device, in your mobile device, it will run on Google TV. Up to a certain point, because if your application is based in accelerometer, it doesn't make sense in a set-top box. But the operative system is Android itself. But at the same time, we are also promoting Chrome OS, which is a different philosophy, if you want, for mobile devices or for devices in general. And we don't know, and we can't tell which one is going to win. We can't tell. We just think each platform has its own values. And the position that Google has is let's try to bet in both of them and see which one wins. And probably in the future, we will have to think about how to merge them and how it makes sense to converge both platforms in one single platform. But from now, We just want to try which one works. But did you think the link between both platforms? It's HTML5. So both platforms support HTML5. That's why I was so supportive with HTML5. Because whatever you develop for HTML5 is going to work in both platforms. So no matter which one is going to win, it's going to work in both of them. That's okay. Yeah, I think it's time to go. I have had a very, very good time with you. Thank you very much for your attention, for your questions. That was the best part of the presentation, for sure. And thank you all. Yeah.